I want to show you guys how I installed a solar panel on the roof of my Toyota Tacoma. It's pretty weird, as you can tell. It's not a normal way to hook up a solar panel on the roof. That's because I ran out of space. There was a couple options of how I could install a solar panel. It was either going to be on the roof rack like that, but once I installed everything I had up there, I ran out of space. We'll go over everything that's installed on my roof rack in a different video. I just want to go over the solar panel and how I mounted it to my case up there so I had enough room. So on the roof rack here, I got installed a 23-0 102 liter rugged case. Now, there's a few different brands that make these rugged cases. I went with this one for a few different reasons. So it's 102 liters, so it's pretty big compared to like the Rome, for example, which is about, I think, 98 liters for the biggest one. So it's bigger. The Rome is more expensive. I didn't like that. Another thing is the 98 liter from Rome is out of stock for like 6 months, and that just wasn't going to fit my schedule. So I went with 23-0, and I've been pretty impressed with this case for the price compared to, you know, Rome. Going into the reason why I put a case on the roof rack, because it's really not normal. I know a lot of overland guys haul gear in them, like ropes and tie downs and just tools and just random stuff. My use case is a little bit different. My fiance and I are going to be living out of this truck and exploring the country for, I don't know, a year and maybe even longer. We need a nice dry location to store our clothes, make sure they don't get dirty and wet. This was my solution, and it's been pretty awesome. My first test was make sure no dust got in there and it stayed dry. And luckily, you know, we did some testing and everything in there was dry. And then I decided to drill some holes in the roof of it and put a solar panel on it. So that kind of really made the quality of keeping it waterproof questionable. In all fairness, guys, the credit goes to my dad for this idea. My idea was to get one of those sticky solar panels and try to get it to stick on the box, but I had already bought this solar panel. It's a cheap one off Amazon, a 100-watt one. Works pretty good actually, but I'd already bought it, and his idea was, once we realized we ran out of room, was to just drill it and mount it onto the box here. I'll go into a little bit more details of how he came up with this idea to make sure it didn't break and didn't leak, but all credit goes to him. He did awesome here, and luckily we've been testing this for, I don't know, about 3 weeks now, because I wanted to make sure it worked before I showed you guys. So 3 weeks, everything's sticking together. It's not leaking. It hasn't ripped the box off the rack yet. Everything's good to go. To get this mounted up, we had a few challenges. To be honest, it was not an easy task. The first issue was the solar panel itself, the metal going around it is very thin aluminum. My dad and I both did not think that was going to hold up to highway speeds, so we had to reinforce that aluminum because we didn't just want bolts going into that aluminum. It's super thin. So what we did, we went to, I don't know, I think it was like Tractor Supply or one of those stores, and picked up some chunks of aluminum, thicker chunks, and reinforced the areas where we're going to be drilling into and having bolts hold that in. That way, we didn't have to worry about the thin aluminum on there ripping, and we had extra aluminum to hold that pressure. Kind of hard to explain. I hope I have some clips here to show it a little bit better. That way we had some extra strength throughout that solar panel to make sure it would stand up to highway speeds. The next problem we had to overcome was drilling the holes into the box. That was a whole problem in itself to make sure it lined up and didn't go into the wrong spots, because on the inside of the box, there's these little holes. We wanted to be on the inside of these holes to make sure we actually got the bolts through the whole way. After we got the holes drilled in correctly and made sure everything was lined up, the next problem was going to be making sure it stayed watertight and no water would be able to get in there. For this, we used silicone, and we layered the silicone throughout the bolt holes and throughout the 2 pieces of aluminum to make sure it stayed pretty watertight on both sides. It worked well, but we were nervous that it would still leak, and unfortunately I did notice that one of the bolt holes did end up leaking. Not a lot, but enough that it would make our clothes wet. So my solution was to fill the bolt hole from the inside up with silicone and really like pack it in there. This worked very well. It hasn't leaked since, and there was only one bolt hole that ended up leaking. I've been keeping an eye on it ever since, and I haven't had any more leaks, no dust getting in. All in all, the whole box itself has kept its water tightness, dust proofness. A big shout out to 23-0. This box definitely is not designed to do this, but it does do it. I don't know if I can recommend doing it, because I don't know, I don't want everybody driving around with solar panels on their boxes, things flying off. So if you end up doing this and following us, I am not liable for anything that happens when you're doing 75 down the interstate. It works for me, just letting you guys know that. Pretty awesome here. The reason why we did this solar panel on the roof rack is so when we're driving around, or say we go for a hike or something, I can charge up my battery box I have in the back of the truck. You can utilize a solar panel on your truck for a couple different reasons here. You can run it to the main battery. My use case is to run it down through the back into the back seat where my battery box is going to be powering a lot of our stuff. So for the fridge and our phones, the laptops, all that stuff, this is going to be powering that. I have two different solar panels. I have the one on the roof that's mounted and hooked in the back all the time. And then I got a foldable one that's I think a 200 watt one to give us a little bump of power when we're stationary. But this idea is, if we go for a hike or something, the truck can sit there and make power all the time, and it's pretty awesome. Hey guys, I want to show you how I ran the solar wiring into the back of the Tacoma. So if you come down here, I'm going to try my best to show you this. This is between the bed and the cab here. If you take a look, try my best to show you. See that little hole? There is one of these little plugs in that hole. Well, I took that plug out, and that goes right into the back of the Tacoma. So I'm gonna mess with this plug a little bit, cut it up a little bit, and get ready to feed those solar wires into the bed or into the back of the Tacoma that way. I just wanted to show you that there is another one of those holes on the other side of the cab as well. But, I just wanted to show you guys because I thought it was interesting. Small update here, kind of hard to show you guys. Sorry, the sun is right in the camera. But as you see here, I fed the solar negative and positive into the cab. And there's a little grommet that I cut. I'm going to put a little bit of silicone around that just to give it a better seal. And then we should be good to go there. I'll show you what it looks like up in the cab and where it comes out. All right, here we are up in the cab here. And you can see it comes, well, this is the back seat, which is removed right now. But it comes up behind this piece of plastic here. It's literally like right behind there is where the hole comes out. And then I got to put the little quick connects back on there, but good to go. Solar is now in the back of the truck. You can also, run a solar panel to your main battery, make sure it stays charged all the time. But this is for my use case. I want it to be up on top of the roof and come down into the back here through this little grommet hole into the back seat to power my battery box. So that's how I fit a solar panel on the roof rack of my truck when I ran out of space. I don't know if I can recommend this because it's pretty sketchy. It's pretty DIY. It's weird. It's niche. But I wanted to show you guys because I thought it was pretty cool. And a big shout out to my dad as always. He comes up with these crazy ideas and somehow, I don't know how, but they always end up working. Super weird. I'll let you guys know if it ends up breaking for sure. Keep you guys updated on any kind of water leaks if this 23-0 box ends up breaking. I did buy this 23-0 box with my own money, so I don't have any affiliation with those guys. So if they comment and say, hey, don't use this box, I'm sure they don't want you to use a box like this. Also, I'll let you guys know if the solar panel ends up breaking. I'll keep a link down in the description if you guys are interested in anything like this. It's a lot cheaper than those solar panels that go on the hood as well. The solar panels that go on the hood, there's like $350 for like 50 watts of power. They're not very good. This is 100 watts of power for like $80 if you don't count the box I mounted it to. Pretty awesome setup there. All right, guys, let me know in the comments if you would be worried about driving behind me on the interstate. I'm curious, do you think it's sketchy? You think it's gonna hold up? It's been like 3 weeks. I've been driving on the interstate. It's been holding up pretty well. Let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys as always. Hit a like button, hit a subscribe button. It means a ton to me. I'm gonna head out here, but check this video out right here. It's pretty good, and I'll see you in the next one.